Just a decade or so ago, owning an aero bike was a bit like owning an American muscle car. They looked cool, and in a short drag race, they were undoubtedly very fast. But a lot less fun if you wanted to go around a corner, or up a hill, or actually own one. These days though, aero bikes are quite a bit more refined and easier to live with. Take this Orbea Orca Aero for example. It weighs less than 8 kilograms, it handles just like a performance bike should, and it's comfortable enough for riders like Arnaud Delis to ride it for 3,498 kilometers around France. And that leaves us with a question. Are lightweight climbing bikes still relevant in 2024, or have aero bikes well and truly taken over? Well, to answer that question, we've come to Silverstone Sports Engineering with its plethora of testing rigs, and Orbea has let us have a play with their new bike. They call it the ultimate climbing machine, the latest Orca. Let's go and do some testing. Weight is easy to measure, and it is talked about perhaps a little bit too much in the world of cycling. That's probably why a lot of people think that it's the only reason why you might want to own a climbing bike like this one over an aero bike like that one. However, I think there's more to it than that. You see, as clever as Orbea's engineers are, I think, just like everyone else, they're going to have had to compromise in certain areas to make the Orca Aero all pally with the wind. The problem is things like ride feel, power transfer and pedaling efficiency are really hard things to measure. What we need is some hard and fast data comparing an aero bike with a climbing bike to find out the real reason why so many pros still crave bikes like this. Well, today we're going to get just that. Thanks to Orbea supplying us with two of the very best bikes in each category, we can once and for all find out the true difference between an aero bike and a lightweight bike, so you're better informed for your next purchase. To find out, we're at Silverstone Sports Engineering Hub, and we're going to be using their pedaling efficiency rig. So as you can see, we've already got the Orbea Orca mounted, and today we're going to be using two road surfaces. So this one simulates a normal road, a British road, and then this one is called Set, and that's actually modelled off of the Champs-Élysées, and it's there to model a bumpier road. So what will the machine actually do? Well, as I ride it, I will have an input power, and then all the clever tech is measuring my output power. We're not actually interested in those two numbers. What we're actually interested in is the number between them, because using that, we'll be able to calculate the bike's efficiency. I'll be riding at two different speeds, 30 kilometers an hour and 40 kilometers an hour. And the clever people behind me have done all sorts of maths using my CDA and a gradient to make sure that the power is just like it would be out in the real world. And in fact, this drum is even weighted to make it feel like I'm riding out there. Right, I better get on with it. As you can see during the testing, both the bikes are fitted with exactly the same group set and gearing, and the wheels and tyres and tyre pressures are also exactly the same. Right, that's the pedaling efficiency test complete, and whilst the clever guys and girls here at SSE go and calculate us some results, this is a good opportunity to talk you through where we've come from. You see, look back in history, and for as long as there's been bike racing, it's been lightweight bikes that have ruled the roost. Just take a look at the Orca's lineage. Orcas have racked up 22 World Tour wins, countless more results are under a certain Sammy Sanchez, been victorious on Alpe d'Huez, the Zoncolan, Les Ardennes. Basically, if there's a mountain worth winning on, then the Orca's probably done it. It's not enough to just be light though. Pro riders and teams are more demanding than ever when it comes to aerodynamics, weight, stiffness, and compliance of their bikes. And so this year, when Orbea announced that it would be returning to the Tour de France, it equipped Team Lotto Destiny with two bikes for the road stages, the Orca and the Orca Aero. Obviously, the Orca climbing bike is a bit lighter than the Orca Aero. And this is indeed one of the reasons why the pros choose to ride it. Like all the bikes in the Tour de France though, it is constrained by the UCI weight limit. so there's not a lot of wiggle room for improvement in this area. In fact, despite the Orca OMX frame weighing a very competitive 750 grams and the lightest builds weighing less than the UCI weight limit, it's only around 50 grams lighter than the final rim brake Orca from years back. Has the development of climbing bikes flatlined then? Well, according to Orbea, no. This latest Orca has been designed to be a lot more than just light, and in their words, having the lightest bike is worth nothing if it isn't stiff and efficient. Orbea also explains that the rounder frame sections help to reduce vibrations, hence saving energy on longer rides and offering you a further advantage on that final climb. How much energy you might save? Well, let's find out. Well, we've had some time to mull over the results, and the good news is exactly the same thing happened every time we ran the test, so we are pretty confident about our findings. We'll kick off with this graph. The blue bars represent the Orca Aero bike, and the grey bars represent the Orca climbing bike. This graph is showing the overall efficiency of the bikes, and therefore the higher the bar, the better. Now, we should say that both bikes actually performed extremely well. We didn't mess around optimizing our tyre pressures for the separate surfaces or wax our chain or anything like that. We just took the bikes as they come, as you might actually ride one out on the Sunday club run, for example. If you look closely though, despite using the same chain, crankset, wheel, tyre and tyre pressures, you can see that there's a measurable difference between the two bikes. In fact, the Orca climbing bike was more efficient both on the simulated tarmac, the simulated rough road, and at both 30 kph and 40 kph. This difference admittedly isn't huge, it varies between about 1 and 3%, which isn't going to create any huge gaps between you and your mates when out riding, but could well leave you feeling fresher and less beaten up at the end of an endurance ride or long race. Next, we'll move on to this graph, which is showing us the power loss, or in other words, the difference between the power I was putting in and the power actually propelling me forwards. Once again, the blue bar is for the Orca Aero and the grey bar is for the climbing bike. This time though, we're looking for the lowest possible number, and as you can see, the lightweight Orca takes the win. Our testing shows that whether you're riding on a smooth road or a rough road, you can expect to save around 3 watts by switching from an aero bike to a climbing bike. Clearly, the pros are unlikely to give up their speed machines for 3 watts, but for the rest of us, it's certainly food for thought. So where are these watts actually going? Well, as you ride along, it's impossible for all your efforts to go into forward motion. Any noise that your tyres make on the road or that your drivetrain makes is energy being dissipated. Your tyre will also heat up as it soaks up vibrations, again, energy being lost. Clearly, there's also a part that your frame is responsible for too. As I turn the pedals, you need not only a stiff frame to translate this force to the wheel, but also a compliant one to soak up the vibrations being transferred from the road through the bike. Having an aero frame is great for cheating the wind, but the long thin tube shapes means that they're less good at absorbing these vibrations. Read any of our reviews and you'll see that even the best modern aero bikes are less comfortable than their climbing counterparts. And when it comes to pedaling efficiency, they have to make compromises too. So if there's one thing to take away from all this testing, it's that there's a lot more to a climbing bike than just climbing. I've actually been riding both of these bikes for quite a few weeks now in the real world, not just in the lab. And whilst for a flat race it is the Orca Aero that I would choose, I've actually found myself more often than not reaching for the climbing bike. The feeling of a bike that is both light and efficient is, well, it's infectious. The instant acceleration on a climb is something that not many aero bikes can pull off. Throw in that vibration absorption, which is gladly received on the B roads and most UK roads for that matter, and throw in some responsive handling, and you not only have a serious climbing machine, but a true all-rounder. Coming back to our original question then, are climbing bikes a dying breed? No, I don't think so one bit. And now I've got the data to back it up. The weight of climbing bikes may not have changed a huge amount over the last decade, and the advancements are far less tangible than in the past, but this doesn't mean that it's stagnated. Brands can no longer get away with saying, oh, but it's 100 grams lighter, but there's still very much a place for bikes that don't have aerodynamics as their #1 priority. If you've enjoyed this more techie look at today's top bikes, then let us know by giving this video a like and dropping us a comment down below. For more information on both the Orca and Orca Aero, you can find a link in the description. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel for lots more bike tech, and we'll see you next time.